Unforeseen emergencies. That seems to be the name of the game lately. And today we're going to talk about how you can best prepare for some unforeseen emergencies while I make bread for a party tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness. And preparedness comes in many different forms for many different things. It has been my long-standing belief that if you're going to start preparing, don't prepare. Don't stock up for the end of the world as we know it, zombies and all that other stuff, right? You want to prepare for the things that are most likely to happen where you are. So if you're in hurricane areas, you want to prepare for that. If you're in tornado alley, you want to prepare for that. Those kinds of things. That's how we focus on being prepared. Now, Mother Nature, for whatever reasons, and I am not here to discuss that, but things are happening and weather is getting more unpredictable, more unstable, and more dangerous. And people are dealing with things that they never thought they'd have to deal with. Snowmageddon in Texas, the Ice-mageddon in northern Michigan, where seriously, there are still people without power 2 months later. Tornadoes where there aren't normally tornadoes, severe rain, serious thunderstorms. It's chaos out there right now. And I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better. And so it's time for us to take a look at how we can best prepare for those unforeseen emergencies. We are gonna make some bread. Yes, we are. I'm doing a quadruple batch. And so the big mixer. Yeah. Life is so unpredictable anymore, right? We have seen some major storms go through. I know it was a heck of a storm that rolled through here last night. I have to count. Hang on one second. Yeast. Okay. It's been crazy. It's been crazy and stressful, very stressful, right? If you're not used to these weird, bizarre occurrences, it just makes it more difficult in your day-to-day life. But the more prepared you are, even for those unexpected, unlikely circumstances, not unlikely to the extent of zombies, okay, but unlikely to the extent of snow in Texas. While the yeast is proofing, let's talk about some smart stocking habits just to get you kicked off, especially if you're brand new to the party, okay? So first, you want to make sure that you rotate your stock, restock later, okay? So rotate first, restock later. That's what you want to do. Use the first in, first out method, backfill from there. If you have any questions about that, hit me up in the comments, okay? The rule of 3. It's a good rule to have. Only keep items that you can use at least 3 different ways. So if you're using, let's say spaghetti sauce, okay? Can you use that 3 different ways as opposed to tomato sauce or tomato paste or tomato powder that you can use not only for spaghetti sauce, but you can use it to make a marinara sauce and you can use it to make ketchup. You know what I mean? So learning how to work backwards to a more original state of the product, and then you have more variety, more opportunities for its use moving forward. So the rule of 3, I absolutely love it. Rice, like rice. Let's take rice, okay? Rice can be used, for example, in stir fry, soup, and pudding. How easy is that, right? Rice is a good thing to have. Hidden calories are something you have to keep an eye on. Now, I am a firm believer, don't stock it unless you eat it, period. Just don't. So stock calorie-dense foods to stay full during emergencies. But a Snickers bar is not going to keep you full, okay? And that has a lot of calories. So you want to base it on nutrition. You want to base it on what you eat today. For me, protein. That's what keeps me full, okay? So I'm going to focus more on the protein aspect of it. If you are not a protein-heavy diet, then you focus on what you eat and what you stock and, go from there. So don't get something just because I say that it's good. Try it out, see if you like it, see if it's something that will become part of your regular diet, and then stock it up. It doesn't make sense to not eat, it doesn't make sense to not stock what you don't eat. Makes no sense at all. You can build meal kits in a bag. You can. Is it something I'm fond of? No, it's not. But you can do it, okay? You can take your freeze dried, if you're one of my Thrive Life customers, and if you are, thank you very much. You can take, you can make those into meal kits in the bags. The recipes that I put out every month with the new sale, you can keep those dry and drill them down so that they are meals in a bag where you just add water. I love that. Hello. Okay. So, pasta, jarred sauce, canned mushrooms, Parmesan packet, pasta night. Okay. So you can do it as a serious meal for one in a bag or two or three or whatever, or you can put the ingredients in a bag, at which point you're taking the pasta sauce, the mushrooms, and putting that all together in a bag, in its containers, in its, commercially canned containers or home canned containers. So not that you're actually mixing the food together. Was that clear as mud? I know, I get it. Um, Use baskets by meal type. So organize your pantry items into breakfast, dinner, and snacks if it's applicable, especially if you're in a high emergency area, that kind of thing. Having that ready grab and go breakfast, dinner, snack kind of thing. Organize that oatmeal, powdered milk, raisins, cinnamon. It's an on the go breakfast. Poof, it's all right there. If that's a way that works for you, do it. So those are some smart stocking hacks in order to make stocking your pantry more friendly and more usable. It's the windowsill. What am I going to do? If I've said it once, I've said it a million times, my friends. Okay. But a pantry is not something that you set and forget. You don't run out, grab everything, and then just walk away and go, I'm good. See you later. Bye. Doesn't work that way. It is a lifestyle, and it is something that should take time to make sure that you get it right, because you won't get it right all the time. It's a learning curve. And because your tastes change over time or your need changes over time. And so it's definitely something that you build slowly and you learn as you go. And that way you don't break the bank. Definitely don't max out a credit card. Okay. That serves nobody any purpose at all. So, probably one of the best rules is to take $5 a week or whatever number you pick and put that in your budget towards prepping, right? So, one week, you get a bag of rice. The next week, you get some extra cans of vegetables. The next week, you get some beans. That's how you want to move forward. Stretch it with staples. Your staples are your things that are going to last forever. Okay. And buy pantry staples in bulk to get the most for your money. Okay. So don't just get a bag of rice, maybe. Save for a couple weeks and get a 20-pound bag of rice. And that's going to last you much longer. And the price is right. And I noticed yesterday in my trip to Walmart that they now sell those at Walmart. I was kind of impressed. Take advantage of the sales cycles. So, like every month on the first, when I do a video telling you what to look for this month on sale, use those. Use the weekly flyers. Use the weekly sales. That will help you determine where you're going to spend that $5, $10, $20 every week in order to stock your pantry more than what it is today. Um, Shelf stable swaps are important. I'm huge on shelf stability because our power goes out all the time. So choose versions of perishables that last. Yes, fresh pears are awesome, but canned pears last a lot longer. Okay. Yes, fresh chicken is great, but ugly chicken lasts a lot longer. Kind of look at different ways that you can get what you usually use and make it shelf stable. And that may develop some more skills too, because skills are what's going to get you through the really rough times. Try to go for a zero waste strategy. The more of something that you can use, the less that you waste, then the more you benefit and the less the cost is, if that makes sense. Okay. So if you get, say, a pork butt or a pork shoulder, those have a ton of fat in them, and there's normally a bunch that we carve off before we even put it in jars, right? So take that fat, put it in your slow cooker, render it down, clean it, get all the debris out of it, put it in a jar. You have lard. Yes, you do. And it's great for cooking. It's much better for you than canola oil or vegetable oil. And it was essentially free. Technically, it took the cost of the pork butt down, which hopefully you got on sale, to include a whole jar of lard with it. So you saved like $5, give or take, depending on where you are. A zero waste strategy is a way to make sure that nothing goes to waste, everything gets used. One of the best parts about having a pantry is the long-term shelf stability. I love it because most things last on the shelf longer than they want you to believe they will, and longer than we've been trained to believe they will. So long-term shelf stability, right? Look at your things like grains and pasta, oats, rice, that kind of thing, stored in airtight containers. Okay. You can either vacuum seal it, at which point you want to make sure that it's really, really secure. And if you put it in a jar, leave the ring on if you're vacuum sealing it. It just helps prevent any failures from being a problem. If you're not putting it in that, then use oxygen absorbers, Mylar and oxygen absorbers. It's fantastic. And those are long term. That's not stuff you're going to use in the next 6 months. You know what I mean? My rule of thumb for long term is if I'm going to use it in the next 365, it goes in a bucket or a jar. If it's going to be longer than a year before I touch it, then it goes into Mylar and a bucket, because otherwise it just financially doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. Definitely, you want to get all the oxygen out, okay? Because that keeps anything from coming to life. It's a beautiful thing. You want to label everything. Don't trust your memory. Do not trust your memory. I can tell you how much I paid for a chair at a garage sale 10 years ago, but I cannot tell you what is in the mystery jar, whether it is pectin or whether it is arrowroot powder. I have no idea. Nobody will ever know. A lot of people believe in the freeze before storing method. 72 hours in the freezer, and then you have to bring it out, and then you have to let it come back down to temperature, and then you stick it into your containers, and then you take the air out in whatever method that you do and put it up. I'm not huge into freezing. I have never, ever lost anything because I didn't freeze it. Any hitchhikers that came home potentially died during the vacuum sealing or the oxygen absorber phase. The lack of oxygen kills, So do what you do. Freezing to me is not a must do kind of thing. And I know it goes against everything that most people tell you, but I'm not going to take 20 pounds of rice, put it into the freezer, introduce moisture to it because it's in the freezer, bring it out, and then figure out how to get it dry again to be able to put it up. It just doesn't make sense, So I rely on pulling all the oxygen out to make sure that any hitchhikers go to sleep. Night, night. Desiccants are great when you're looking at home dehydrated things or things that you go into a little more often, like your freeze-dried stuff. So there's oxygen absorbers, remove the air, and there's desiccants, remove the moisture. So know the difference and use them where it's applicable. And I know you guys know the saying, keep it cool, dark, and dry. Okay, make it your favorite mushroom. It's got to be cool, dark, and dry. Now, I live in Arizona. It's 150 degrees Fahrenheit on a good day. I can't keep it cool. No, then you just can't keep it as long. That doesn't mean you can't keep it. You just have to make sure that you're using it faster than what I would be able to keep it for. It's the way it works. Let's go back to those emergency meal kits for a minute. Count with me. I need 8 of these, okay? These are relatively easy to figure out because you're taking ingredients and you're not mixing them together yet. So if you want to have like a really easy soup or a stew, right? Take a jar or a can of chicken. Take some pasta or grain of your choice. Take some bouillon, take some water that's bottled up, some dried vegetables, and put that all in a larger bag that will hold all of it. And that is your meal kit for soup. So it's a DIY meal kit that will serve you, and it will make it easier for whoever comes in behind you to know what to do with it should anything happen and you're not available to tell them. You can also put right into the bag how to put it all together to make a meal. That's a lot of fun. Look at some no-cook meal solutions, because there are going to be times when you just don't want to or you just can't, So having food that you don't have to cook to eat. Can I eat ugly chicken straight out of the jar? You bet I can. And you bet I have. And you bet I will again. But Do I love making meals with it that I heat up? Uh-huh, I sure do. So being able to get things that will fit both the heat and the non-heat, where you don't have to cook something with it, is very, very helpful. And that's even if it's protein bars, okay? It's something. Don't forget about your flavor boosters. So this is your hot sauce, your salt, your pepper, your spices, your herbs, that kind of thing. Those flavor boosters will make all the difference, all of it. Who here has tried thermos cooking? I love this so much. Okay, so you take your ingredients, like say oats, okay? You put your oats in your thermos. You put your cinnamon, you put your dehydrated apple, okay? And then you pour hot boiling water over that in the thermos, close the thermos, and go out the door. And by the time you get to wherever you're going, you have wonderfully hot cooked oatmeal. Just stir it up a little bit and dive in. There's all different kinds of ways that you can do that. Instant rice is helpful, for if you're doing that kind of meal prepping, that kind of thing. There's so many different things that you can do with that. It's definitely worth giving a try. Who doesn't love powder? I love powder. Okay, so powdered eggs, powdered milk, powdered what's-her-face sauce. A lot of the things that we use on a daily, weekly basis, you can buy in powdered form. Takes up significantly less room and lasts a whole bunch longer. And when you're putting together things like meal kits, very helpful. Next, we're going to look at storage, because everyone says, I don't have enough room for that. I don't have enough room for all this. Everyone's got room. You just need to be creative about it, okay? So think vertically. Vertical space is awesome. This is gonna be so good. Vertical space is a fantastic way to be able to store more when you didn't think you could, Just move up, go up, hang it from stuff, put it up on top shelves, put more shelves up, that kind of thing. And don't forget to repurpose things. So, no, you cannot you cannot can in repurposed commercial spaghetti jars, okay? Don't recommend it. Don't do it. I know you've always done it and your grandmother always did it. That's nice. It's not something that should be done. It's not a safe practice by any stretch. I haven't killed anybody yet. Keyword is yet, The best bet is just don't do it. If it's not safe, don't do it. It's not worth the risk. Now, those used commercial jars, though, they are great for storing dried goods. Really good. Okay. So I do recommend doing that. That is a good practice. Let's see, how many can I fit on here? Probably 2. So repurpose everything that you can, but make sure that it's airtight, because that's going to be super important to keep you from getting any hitchhikers and to keep everything fresh. Some stuff just won't be good if it's not airtight. Baskets. I love baskets. Baskets are so useful, and you can hang baskets from doors. You can hang them from hooks. You can hang them from all kinds of stuff. You can just set them down. And I mean, I have baskets all over the place because I use them to keep things separate and easily identifiable. That's important to me. So baskets. And all you have to do, if you get them from the thrift store, you'll save the most money, right? Thrift stores, garage sales. Just give them a good sudsy wash in the sink. Let them dry. Put them to use. They are good. Okay. Trying to make baguette. There we go. We can do this. Next, under stairs. Do you have stairs? I don't have any stairs. Yeah. But if you have stairs, that's a great underutilized space for storage of all kinds. If you don't get into it often, putting it under the stairs is a great place to keep it stored. It's out of the way, doesn't bother anybody, Very, very helpful. And if you have a roomie who doesn't think it's a great idea to stock up on stuff, it's an even better idea because it keeps it out of their line of sight and they can't accuse you of hoarding. It's great. The next one is to label by category. So labeling by category helps you keep things rotated, helps you find them easier, right? Baking goods, you know, definitely don't be afraid to label by category, because any way that helps keep you more organized, more in tune with where it's at and when it has to be used is a good thing. Okay, now we're going to chat about some emergency ready extras, because there's just some things that you may not think about, that are, we'll throw them in the extra category. A manual can opener. Can't say it often enough. Now, if what you can afford is a Dollar Tree can opener, get it. If you can afford one that's a little bit more sturdy, get it. Because the Dollar Tree ones are not known for their longevity. But, if you're not going to play soccer with it, it should do pretty well. Solar lights and a cooking backup. Be ready for grid down scenarios, because they're becoming extremely frequent, right? I think most of this spring has turned into a grid down scenario. So you want to have those ready. Keep a solar light sitting in the window, keep some charged up if that's the case. A butane stove with extra fuel is always a good thing just to have on hand. Your fondue pot. Fondue pots. Yes, I love fondue pots. Next is water, and then water flavoring. Water flavoring is so much fun. But sometimes, water's just not enough. And especially if you got the youngsters, my grandkids would have given up a limb in order to have flavoring in all of their water all of the time, because it's fun, Grandma. Okay, great. So especially if you've got younger ones with you, have some watering or have some flavoring around, but also have some with electrolytes for everybody, but especially for your seniors and for the kids. Have it so that it's something that tastes good, that they can get down, but is also beneficial, especially when things go sideways for a while. If it's really hot, you're going to want to have those electrolytes. This one I take very seriously. Emergency coffee and tea. So if you're a coffee drinker, okay, then you want to pay attention to making sure that you have coffee, that you have not just the coffee that you drink every day, but the coffee that will be there even if you ignore it for a while. So freeze-dried coffee. Prices are going up, by the way. So pay attention to that, okay? You want to make sure that you've got tea. Vacuum seal it. It'll stay good for a good long time. And then create, we'll call it a comfort shelf. Things with your comfort foods. Your chocolate. Maybe some biscuits or cookies, whatever. Something that has those snacks that bring you comfort during an emergency, because if you are stuck without power for a while, or if you are stuck in a shelter, because of tornado warnings and everything, comfort foods are going to make a big difference. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me while I make up all this bread. It is now covered, and we're going to let it rest and rise. It's going to rise, and then we're going to bake it. It's going to be so good. Unexpected emergencies happen all the time, everywhere, no matter who you are. It can be literally anything from tornadoes and hurricanes and freak storms, right? To your pipes burst, or there's a huge power outage in your area. They all have different labels to go with them, and they can all happen literally just like that. So being prepared for those unusual emergencies really helps a lot. And I hope that this video gave you some inspiration or a little nudge to get started, no matter where you are, in becoming better prepared for life's little and not so little emergencies. If you want to see what foods last forever, check out this video right here. There's 24 of them, my friends. And until next time, everybody, be safe and keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.